What's up, fellas? Welcome to the Cloud Gaming Next channel. So today we're going to continue the series where we react to these guys that I call the state haters. People that just hate Stadia for apparently no reason. So there's a guy by the name of DreamcastGuy. I've done a video on this guy previously, but he just posted another video yesterday called Why I Really Hate Google Stadia. So actually, let's search this dude's name and see how many Stadia video he has made. This is just a brand new one, right? So Dreamcast guy to Stadia. Alright. 1, 2, 3. Okay, 3 videos. And that's me. Alright, yeah, so if you guys haven't watched this, my series, definitely check it out if you find this exciting or if you find this interesting. So again, this was posted 15 hours ago, so let's get right into this. Oh no. What is going on? Let's try that again. There we go.
Oh, hi there. I was just playing a little bit of Grand Theft Auto on my Darth Vader PSP, and I wanted to take a break to actually just talk to you guys very directly about Google Stadia. A lot of people seem upset with the idea that I'm not won over by it. I've actually seen a lot of people saying that I'm just a blind Google Stadia hater, and I wanted to just talk about this completely unscripted. I have nothing written on any of my monitors. I'm literally just sitting down, and I just wanted to talk to you guys off the cuff, because I feel like Google Stadia is actually going to have bigger implications than people actually realize.
Oh.
What's up, gamers? DreamcastGuy here, and I
What's
wanted
up?
to get into this today because so many people are very upset that I'm even talking about Google Stadia, which to me is weird.
Is it?
Anytime I make a video and people get mad at me for making it, I'm always a little bit confused, where I talk about something that I think looks cool or I think looks bad, and people get like, I mean, some people get extremely angry. But what's interesting about the Google Stadia crowd is that when I talk bad about Google Stadia, people don't say I'm dumb. People don't say I'm ignorant. Instead, they get very technical. A lot of people have actually reached out to me privately to explain why Google Stadia is, in actuality, the future. I've had a lot of people actually send me incredibly long, ultra detailed emails and stuff explaining how streaming infrastructure has changed, how it's going to be possible to have it where no game will ever be physical ever again. I've heard the fact that...
you know, I wonder if, like, I'm not trying to be cocky or just take a lot, but I did write this guy and I made a whole video. I mean, you can search him, DreamcastGuy Stadia, and my video pops up in like the top 5. I wonder, like, if he's talking directly to me, how cool would that be, huh? Crazy.
Apparently, Google Stadia is going to work with the Google Pixel 3 phones and nothing else. But I've had people say that's a good thing because it means that there will be less bugs if it's on less systems. I've also had people tell me that Google Stadia is actually going to be great because we can trust Google. A lot of times these random gaming studios can just go out of business. Like, obviously, as a joke here, I'm holding up my Darth Vader PSP, but we need to acknowledge the fact that, yeah, Sony kind of screwed this thing up. It sold decently, and the games did all right. Actually, you can see I have hundreds and hundreds of PSP games, but these are finite. A lot of people tell me these games are inferior to Google Stadia because eventually they will evaporate. These can just be broken. If these discs break or if I just lose them, they cease to exist. Whereas Google themselves is perfect. Google themselves is this omnipotent multi-billion-dollar corporation. And I want to reply to all that because I strongly disagree. For me, the main personal issue I have against Google Stadia, and this is just me, myself, I am not speaking on behalf of a company or an organization.
Thank you. Thank you. I love how he's personalizing this instead of like, okay, I like this. He's owning up to a lot. of things. I'm interested to see like what he really have to say. Let's go.
is that I just don't think it's going to work. I understand a lot of
Personally, for you just don't think it's going to work for you. Okay. Sorry to keep pausing.
people are telling me that streaming infrastructure is better than it's ever been. I've also had people tell me that things are just basically seamless. So if you're playing like a giant experience like Dark Souls on a streaming service, it's basically one to one. My issue is that I fully believe that these things are going to just completely break themselves apart. So, to sort of pivot here, what's going on right now with Netflix? Netflix is currently the predominant streaming platform. Now, obviously, this is an analogy. I know that video games are very, very different from music and movies and television shows, but I'm using this as a comparison because Netflix right now has basically infinite money. They make hundreds of billions of dollars, and they use this to create their own television shows. Orange is the New Black, Stranger Things, stuff like that. But even with all of their power and all of their consolidation of assets, they are still being broken apart. Right now, a bunch of people are starting to form their own versions of Netflix. So all of the things like the show The Office, The Simpsons, all the Marvel movies, everything now that made Netflix so appealing is slowly being splintered off. My fear with Google Stadia is that no matter what, this is still going to happen. Even if Google Stadia is ultra successful. I mean, let's think about best case scenario. Let's just say that somehow the Google Stadia gets let's say 10 million adoption rate in the first year, which means 10
That'd be
million people
crazy.
subscribe to the
Really
service
crazy.
for 365 days. That's a huge amount of money, and I think that Google would probably spend 100% of that on reinvesting. They would try and make this service even better. What happens a year from then? What happens if Square Enix decides to design their own? What if Nintendo decides to get into the ball game? So obviously, I very much love all my Nintendo stuff. Right now, if Nintendo decided to create a little thing where I could actually play emulated original Game Boy games on my cell phone streamed, where I could actually just have a Pokemon save file that immediately just plays on any service connected to the internet. Imagine if they had a thing that was called Game Boy Service, where I could just play Pokemon on my TV or on my tablet or maybe even on other consoles. That is a huge chunk of stuff that will now exist because of Google Stadia. As soon as somebody does something, I feel like it creates
What?
shockwaves. My nervousness is not just that Google Stadia is going to fail, it's that even if it succeeds, I think it creates a future that I'm not happy about. Okay, so additionally, part of this is just a personal bias against streaming.
All right, let me just clarify. Okay, so I made a video where I say Google Stadia is not Netflix. I mean, I'm sorry, Google Stadia and Netflix, just clarifying the confusion with that, right? So Netflix is a streaming service, right? They don't sell movies. They just have a monthly subscription where you pay and then you have access to stream. Now they go to companies and they try to get shows on the service to stream, right? So if a company say, okay, we're going to start ours, we're going to, we want to remove our show from Netflix, they can do that, right? As to where Google Stadia is more like a store in the cloud or online, similar to PSN or the eShop, right? Where do you see companies like Square Enix or even Ubisoft, even though EA Access has their own thing going on, right? Or you have Ubisoft where you play, right? Their games are still on the digital store, on Steam, on PSN, on eShop. So that's what the Google Stadia is going to be similar to, right? So even if, let me say, Ubisoft decides to start, have their own streaming service, the games is still going to be on the Stadia store. Just compare Stadia store to PSN, Steam, In the video game market, stuff like this doesn't happen. But I get your point. I get why you're afraid. But just being real, we don't see this happen in the video game market store in the current day. So let's keep moving.
Streaming. I love physical media. I love that I have a bunch of games on my shelf right now that do not exist digitally anywhere. Like, I'm just going to pull a random one off. Let's just see. Okay, so The Legend of Zelda Four Swords. This is a very interesting multiplayer Zelda game that actually requires I plug in multiple GBAs with a link cable to play it to the full, capabilities. That's what makes this thing so freaking interesting. And this will never exist on any streaming service. I can only play this by tracking down the physical disc, which I did, and I'm very happy to have done. The streaming future worries me because part of the fallout is going to be the fact that this will never exist. If Google Stadia takes over and becomes the predominant platform, which
I said one of the reasons people bashing this, especially like big YouTubers, is because they collect this and they're afraid of what this is going to do to the collection. And he's just stating the obvious, stating the truth. Yeah, if you're a collector, Google Stadia is absolutely terrifying. Like, you're afraid that all those collections are going to become irrelevant. But I feel your pain, bro.
If that happens, that's probably like 10 years from now. I mean, being serious, I definitely think that if that happens, it'll happen in like 2030. I mean, we're not talking, this is not an overnight thing. I'm not delusional. But I still don't like the idea of there being no physical discs. I don't like the idea of there being no digital backups on my servers. Like, I have hundreds and hundreds of games.
At least he's being very honest. This is a video that I would like to see. These guys just being honest as to why they're afraid of Stadia. This is pretty much it. He's not ready for streaming. He's not ready for just his physical collection just going irrelevant. This is why the hate is coming, and this makes sense.
Games installed on my PC. I have all my editing software installed on my PC. I have so many of my own memories on my PC. I don't like the idea of that stuff becoming less accessible. More stuff that's only existing in the cloud. I mean, something I'm a little bit nervous about just on my own is that what if Google gets mad at me? I mean, so right now there's been a lot of talk about Xbox censorship. Microsoft actually has an official statement where if you go onto their platform and troll and say crappy racist stuff or whatever, they can actually ban your Xbox Live account. Now, to me, that's not super crazy. That's just something that happens. But I think it's weird to think about, what if I get banned from Google Stadia? What if for some reason I glitch out and it looks like I'm hacking and I get reported by a bunch of people and I lose my Google Stadia account? What does that mean? Does that mean I lose hundreds of games? Will it be possible to lose a Google Stadia?
You can say this with any other, even with YouTube. You're a YouTuber, right? If you go against Google's terms and conditions for YouTube, dude, your channel is getting, like, look at what happened with, Logan Paul and people like that. Like, your channel get demonetized and you lose access to your revenue from ad revenue. So let's your Patreon, you have all these people who used to cover Cody. These channels are irrelevant now. YouTube demonetized most of these channels. Same thing with, Twitch. If you do something that does not meet the guidelines, your Twitch account or even PSN or I don't know about, Nintendo can revoke your, access too. So can Microsoft. This is the same for everyone. You just have to be mindful of not doing anything stupid.
Account. I mean, I know people lose Netflix subscriptions sometimes just if it looks like they're streaming from too many different places at once or something. I worry about the fact that if Google has all the power, if Google is literally able to reach over and flip a light switch, I don't like that. I like right now we're having a problem with Sony censorship, where Sony is saying that they're going to stamp down even harder on games they don't like. What happens if Google does that? What happens if Google starts trying to censor the ideas that they're not a fan of?
Why can Sony and Microsoft do it and Google can't, Like I get you concerned, but again, I'm glad you stay in other companies because other companies do this. It's the fear for the whole industry, not just don't target just one company about it.
Of and entire genres disappear. Like, just as a crazy random thought practice, what if they just decide that they don't like Square Enix? What if Square Enix tries to sue Google for some reason, and Google, as backlash, removes every Final Fantasy, every Chrono Trigger, everything off of Google Stadia? In the future, that could be a death sentence. That could theoretically end their access. That could end their company. I don't like Google Stadia for a variety of reasons, but I want to make it clear it's not that I despise Google. It's not that I don't think it won't function. I think that if anybody's going to figure it out, it's absolutely going to be them.
Okay,
They
thanks
have the
for
most
giving them credit.
infrastructure, they have the most engineers,
Yep,
they have
thank
the
you.
most people trying to solve the problems of
Thank
how
you.
the hell are they going to make this work. I think that Google Stadia is
Okay, and as a gamer, shouldn't you rejoice in that, right? You're saying this is the one company that you feel personally can take this feature, this game streaming, cloud gaming feature to the next level. As gamers, we should support that. We should be excited about this. But instead, we're hearing negative videos like these. Like, just if you're a gamer, this should be like, hoorah, go Google, conquer this, figure this out. But instead, it's like, F Google.
going to get off the ground, and I think that it's probably going to be at least moderately successful. But I do think that there is a lot of things that make me more nervous than excited, at least for now. Maybe new information will come out. As always, I remain open-minded. I am
Good.
never afraid to admit when I am wrong. If I
Good.
screw up, if I backlash, or if I badmouth a game that actually deserves a lot of praise, I don't mind admitting I'm wrong. My
Good.
grandfather always told me admitting you made a mistake is the first step to fixing it. I
I like
love that
that.
idea. It's the
Good.
idea I
Good.
live by. So if it turns out that Google Stadia is great, I will be totally happy. I will not be angry. But I am nervous that it will lead to a lot more bad than good in the grand scheme of things. It just seems like something where if Google has all of our freaking streaming, if Google ends up becoming their own TV service, like what they're trying to do right now with YouTube TV, if they end up taking over all the streaming platforms by being YouTube and streaming everything they can, and now they're streaming video games, I do worry about them having a media monopoly, where they give us the movies they like and they block the stuff they don't. But what do you think? This has just been completely off the cuff, just the random things that have been sitting in the back of my head. What do you think, though? I seriously want to know, is this good? Is this bad? Are you excited for the idea of not having to purchase the next generation of consoles? Let me know your thoughts in the comments down below.
Thank you.
If you enjoyed this video, please give it a like, share with your friends, and subscribe if you haven't already. But do me the biggest favor of all and keep dreaming.
Okay, so check this out. Look what I'm about to do, guys. Ready? Boop! I gave him a like. And I'm gonna tell you why I'm giving this guy a like. This is the first big YouTuber that I'm seeing own up to his fear, right? I've stated this in my other reaction videos as to why I believe all these guys are afraid. The collectors, they're afraid of the technology that comes with Google Stadia. And he is coming, even though why I really hate Google, well, yeah, his title's not as bad. But he's being like honest as to why he hates the service. And I personally admire that. This is a great video. This is a great video because it shows Google is not the problem. It shows that your insecurities and your fears are the problem as to why you're making all these negative videos about Google Stadia. So I hope other big YouTubers pick up on stuff like this and just be honest. Tell your thousands of followers why this is difficult for you to swallow and why this is difficult for you to accept. We need to see more videos like this. So this just states Google can actually, Stadia, I'm sorry, can be very successful. They can actually crack this cloud gaming thing, and you know, you're just afraid that what it might do to your collection, and you're afraid about the technology behind it. You don't want Google to become a monopoly. All that makes sense as to why you don't like Stadia, and again, why I really hate Stadia. So kudos again, Dreamcast Guy, for making a video like this. Now your subscribers know exactly why you stayed hater. And yeah, RGT85 and all the other guys follow suit, because you need to be honest with your subs and tell them why you really are batching Stadia, because it's not cool. Y'all are afraid. Y'all don't like what's coming, and that is the truth. Okay. Alright fellas, if you like this video, hit the like button, subscribe if you want to see more on me reacting to these videos. Check out my other videos of different reactions, but this video is actually not that bad. He's being honest with his viewers and subscribers, so kudos to you, Dreamcast Guy. Alright fellas, till next time, peace.